out of Norfolk, Virginia. His father-in-law, rest in paradise, he's an ancestor now. He was a professor at St. Paul's College. It's an HBCU in Southern Virginia. It went up for sale on the auction for $2 million for the whole campus. 118 acres, cafeteria, everything. I went down there, saw it. We need St. Paul's. I tried to raise the money. Chinese bought it from under us. So at that point, I said, okay, we're going to find us a regular school building, start with a day school, and hopefully grow into a residential. So that's still my vision, but this is a day school. So I thought we was going to be in Detroit because Detroit has a lot of schools, but they kept sabotaging me. They would not show me the schools that were in good shape. They only showed me the worst. So they showed me the schools with no roof, no back, caving in, water up to your knees, and there'll be a good school across the street. And I'll say, well, can I see one of those? It's not on the list. Why is it not on the list? No explanation. That happened to me in Detroit. That happened to me in Chicago. So I realized, since they're gentrifying black people out the city, last thing they want is a black person to buy a school because that will keep the people in the city. So they didn't sell me anything good. So one day, I just came back from Africa, 2017. I'm on my way to the Nat Turner celebration. I was born on August the 21st, the day of the Nat Turner. I was August 20th. Oh man, fellow Leo, get out of here. So anyhow, I stopped on this campus before I took my 5-hour drive to Nat Turner, Virginia, where his war took place. Successful slave revolt in American history. I just came back from Africa. On my way down, that was 2017. So that's August 20th, your birthday. I stopped here because the celebration was on the 21st. So if y'all remember, 2017 was the Great North American Eclipse. Remember that real big one? That's the year we're talking about. So I saw this school the day before the Great North American Eclipse on the day of the Nat Turner Revolution. But I couldn't get inside. I said, this school look good. I'm walking, I'm looking just like y'all look. I'm like, this school look good. So when I got back from Nat Turner, I had to go to Cuba. My paternal grandfather was Afro-Cuban. I got my...
Peace, love, and light, beautiful people. We are here with a mover and shaker. This is Umar Johnson.
Peace and love, family. Glad to be here with Sister Jazz at the FDMG Academy. Your school, my school, our school, opening up soon.
So can you please tell the people what is your life's mission?
My life's mission is to build revolutionary re-Africanization academies for our black boys and girls, our young men and women. I am a Pan-Africanist, so I believe in the unity of all African people globally and worldwide. And part of that means that I want to build schools. I'm an educator. I'm a school psychologist. My doctorate is clinical psychology, and I've decided the best way I can make my contribution in these few decades that I have left on this planet is to build schools. So from now until my ancestors call me back and my Ori goes back to the Most High God, I'll be building academic institutions across the world. This is just the first, but we plan to take it global.
Amazing, amazing. So what is education for you? What does that mean?
For me, I believe that African children have to be educated thoroughly in the acquisition of power and the protection of power. We as African people, we educate our kids to get a job. We educate our kids to participate in society. We don't educate our children in order to acquire power, political, socially, and economically. Dr. John Henry Clark, one of our great grandmaster teachers who's now an ancestor, he said your oppressor will never educate you on how to take power from him. So we have to teach our children how to build that power, political, economic, social, and scientific. What's going on right now? Black Friday. Black people are out shopping and buying everything that they can, wasting billions of dollars of disposable income that we should be using to build schools, hospitals, supermarkets, banks. That's what we should be doing. But because we haven't been educated to use our money as a source of empowerment, we continue to struggle. If you look at our predicament, African people in America are the only group, and this is why we're dead last, by the way, we're the only group who do not weaponize our dollars to build cultural power. Everyone else weaponizes their dollars. We don't. We don't weaponize our dollar. We weaponize our vote. We'll weaponize our protests. We'll weaponize our prayers, but we won't weaponize our money. There can be no black power without the black dollar.
Wow, that was powerful to say the least. And it's amazing how we are here on Black Friday. We could be shopping and doing all these other things, but we're here to support your
Yes.
Here we got the school back up and running.
Yes, ma'am.
And now, oh, I'm sorry, I got this turned here. But now, so let's go back and touch on the importance of understanding your roots and where you come from.
Mm-hmm.
What would that make? Well, what difference would that make for someone who is completely disconnected from that truth?
That's a great question. And that goes right into our mission here at FDMG Academy. So the Honorable Marcus Garvey, who's right behind me on the wall, Marcus Garvey said, a people without knowledge of themselves are like a tree without roots. How can you stand or withstand the attacks on yourself, on your culture, on your people, if you don't know who you are? Another great man said, if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going. You see that? And so here at FDMG, we're going to teach agricultural and agronomical science, dietary and nutritional science. In fact, where you're standing right now might be one of our small student farms right here. Okay, small student garden. So agricultural and agronomical science, dietary and nutritional science, political and military science, economic and financial science, science of the black man, woman, and child, culture and community, and spiritual and astrological science, which we talked about earlier, making sure they understand the Orishas as the antennas of God. I'm going to be the history teacher. And the reason I'm going to be the history teacher is if our children graduate from this school, even if they know how to be a plumber, even if they know how to make their own music, even if they know how to edit video, even if they know how to grow their own food, if they don't know who they are, and if they are not loyal to African people, and if they are not committed to the regeneration and resurrection of African people, I have failed them. Education is not complete unless education includes the development of loyalty and commitment to the success of one's community.
Amazing. So now, do you feel those are some of the things that we are suffering or struggling with as a community?
I do. I believe that the past 400 years for African people in America and globally has beaten us down. So we've been beat down so much psychologically that many of us believe the solution to our oppressor is to escape our blackness. You see, so rather than finding out who I am, rather than recommitting myself to who I am, let me escape this. Let me identify with the 2 Native American grandparents I had instead of the 1,000 of African ones. Let me identify with that Jewish ancestor or that Irish ancestor or that Chinese ancestor. So what we're living in right now is a disidentification from our Africanity because we don't believe there's anything proud in being black. You see this? So what we want to do here at FDMG, which is something that the most honorable Marcus Garvey said, we have to sell black people back to black people. Marcus Garvey said, the white man made being black a curse. Garvey said, I will take it and make it a blessing. And that's what we have to do at FDMG. That's why at our school, no one is allowed, teachers or students. And even though it will be a boys' school, it will evolve into a girls' school. And even though it will be a boys' school, we will have female staff and teachers. But nobody can wear artificial hair. You see that? Nobody can wear artificial hair. The boys, the girls, the teachers, nobody. You have to be natural. Because I believe that the one thing we got to sell back to our children is their natural God-given beauty. Nothing hurts me more than to see our people. And we come in every flavor, every skin color, every tone, every hair type. Nothing bothers me more than when we try to imitate enough people. The oldest people are imitating the youngest people. We have to change that because imitation is death. And you can't claim to want to be on this earth if you're trying to imitate somebody else, if you don't want to be yourself. The first step to genocide is the genocide of one's true identity.
Would you say that's also a reflection of blockage, where someone can't be in their essence to create? They can't be in their fullness to be able to put things together for themselves.
I agree. I agree. And you take me to another part, Sister Jazz, to another point. And that point is this. Even with the culture, even with the Pan-Africanism, even with the Frederick Douglass, even with all the ancestors, FDMG Academy will also have to be a spiritual healing center. It also has to be a psychological healing center. You know why? Because if we don't address the illness that you have from your parents, your home, your siblings, your peers, if we don't address those deep-seated psychological imbalances you have, if we just try to cover it up with culture and race pride, we're going to lose. So we want to address every aspect of self. The political self, the cultural self, the spiritual self, and the psychological self. We are not going to skate past people's personal, psychological, and emotional issues. We're going to address them. And not just for the students, but also for the community as well.
Yes.
So for mothers who want to come, I need to have a conversation. Fathers want to come, we need to have a conversation. We want to heal black people here. Because this is the campus of Oshun, the divinity of love and abundance and trust and intimacy. We want to be that.
That is so beautiful. And do you have a vision of how you can translate this? Let's say we get you in a position where you're in power and you can actually make some differences. What are 3 major differences you would like to try and make to instill these principles?
Excellent question. Number one, because I'm very much about structural change and individual change, we have to create a council of elders. One of the biggest reasons why our community is so dysfunctional, the elders are not in charge of it. The elders are our judicial court. The elders are our executive council. The elders are our legislative branch. That's what the elders are. We don't have. So if me and you have a child together, we get into an issue, we should be able to go before the elders. Where are they? If you loan some money to me and I didn't pay you back, where are the elders you can take that to? Why do you have to go to the white man's court? Why do you got to go downtown? See that? So we need the elders. I think if we had a council of elders reconstituted, that would go a long way towards helping us eliminate a lot of the problems that we deal with. So council of elders, that's number one. The second thing that we need is we need a non-denomination healing process and protocol. You're depressed, you're suicidal, sex abuse, emotional trauma, paternal abandonment, fatherlessness, whatever your issue is, we have a way where we can help you that is not disrespectful to your religious beliefs at all, but is dealing with the soul of you, the core of you, the African being that is within you. We got to have a way African people can get help for their problems without being forced to swallow religion. So when people come to me with an issue, I don't give them E5. I only give them E5 if they ask for E5. You understand? You're here to be helped. You're not here to be fed a religion or a spiritual system. If it comes to that, I'm going to take you to that. But we don't even have to go there. And the problem with our community, Sister Jazz, is if I want to go to the church for help, they want me to accept their dogma first. If I want to go to the masjid for help, they want me to accept their dogma first. If I want to go to the Hebrew temple for help or the Jehovah Witness Hall for help, they want me to accept their dogma first. I just need some help.
Right.
Why do I have to accept that in order for you to help me? And so I want to create an atmosphere here that is non-denominational, where nobody feels that anything is being forced on them. The only thing that's going to be forced on you here is self-respect as an African person. And the third thing that we want to do here is we want to create an army of young leaders. I want to build entrepreneurs who are under the age of 17. I want to build social activists who are under the age of 17. I want to build publishers of their own book who are under the age of 17, because we're losing our young people. Look at all the homeless young people we got.
Yeah.
Nowhere to sleep. I mean, literally, we're holding conferences on homeless children. Let's give them something that they could do with that homeless. Take the struggle of homelessness and turn it into a blessing for these babies.
Yes, and I feel like that's the biggest game changer right there. Just teaching people how they can turn their pain into fuel. They can use their pain and channel it into that energy that they need in order to be able to get through and break through or get to that next level, whatever it is that they're trying.
Absolutely, which goes to another point. The hypnosis of American capitalism. You know why we out there shopping today, Jazz? Because we're under the hypnosis of American capitalism. The hypnosis of American capitalism says, you are unhappy because you don't own enough stuff. Are you with me?
Yes.
You're not happy, Jazz, because you don't have a Mercedes. You're not happy, Jazz, because you don't have a BMW. You're not happy, Jazz, because you don't have on Gucci and Balenciaga and Louis Vuitton. Once you buy these things, you'll be happy. So guess what you do? You spend your whole annual savings for Black Friday. You go and buy all that. And while you're shopping, you're on a high, you're on a mania, because you know, when you shop, dopamine is released.
Right.
So the same chemicals that are released when you're using crack or alcohol are released when you're shopping. This is what shopaholics come from.
Yes.
You're not a shopaholic because you like to buy. You're a shopaholic because you're addicted to the feeling buying gives you.
Right.
You see, so then when you get home, you suffer from what? Buyer's remorse. You was happy at the shop till you got home and looked at your bank account and see all the money you just wasted. Now you go into a deep depression. And instead of saying, you know what? I made a mistake. Let me take some of this stuff back. You know what we do? Because we're under the hypnosis of American capitalism, we say, you know why I'm still upset? I didn't buy enough. So guess what we do tomorrow?
Keep buying.
We go out and we keep buying and keep buying and keep buying. And that's Black America. Rather than address the problems that we have, we think we can shop our way into being accepted by American society.
Yeah, and it's just filling a void.
Yes.
It's a never-ending vortex.
Never ending.
That'll never
Never.
fill you back ever.
We think consumerism is the road to equality. No, because the more you consume, the less wealth you have, the less wealth you have, the less power you have. I don't know who this is.
Onto that power. Oh, but they're fans. They coming up.
Okay.
Movement. They already know what it's about.
But yeah. So I want to destroy that.
Yes.
I want a child to come into my school with the cheapest sneakers, the cheapest socks, the cheapest underwear, cheapest clothes, and say I'm equal to anybody in here, and I don't feel ashamed because I'm not wearing what you're wearing. Do you see that?
Yes.
I want to strip down completely the hypnosis of American capitalism, that my worth is not in what I'm wearing. My worth is not in what I own. My worth is in who I am.
Yes.
We got to get back to that, because you see it with our young ladies. They've also been hypnotized by the hypnotism of American capitalism, but also they've been hypnotized by the energy of sexual misogyny. So the women are selling themselves by their body. If you are relating to a man through sex, when he's no longer interested in your sex, why would he stay? You're supposed to be relating to a man through your being, through your soul, through your goals, through your ambition, through your character, not through sex. But because our women are so sexualized, and this is true for all women in America,
Yes.
but especially those of African descent, the hypersexuality of American culture convinces our girls that the only way I am worth anything is to the extent that I can make a man lust for me. So I'm going to go down to the Dominican Republic and get a BBL. I'm going to get my breasts done. I'm going to get my lips done. I'm going to get my cheekbones done. And if I don't like it, I'm going to go get them redone to the point I'm looking like some type of a forest animal or something, because I just so distorted my face. You see that? So we have to really work on our girls as much as our boys. They both need it. But I really hurt for our daughters, because they're watching their mothers and their grandmothers.
And they're watching the television.
And they're watching the television.
Of all this
Right.
societal.
Absolutely. And when you see women old enough to be your mother and grandmother feeling like they got to get surgery in order to be attractive, you're automatically doomed to do the same thing.
Yes.
I want them to come in here with the nappiest hair, the blackest skin, the biggest nose, the thickest lips, the biggest hips, and love it. And I want the boys to love her for who she is and not what she has. And I want her to love the boys for who he is and not what he has. Because you know what I noticed, Jazz? We are still evaluating each other on a plantation system. On the plantation, I was judged by how much I could do physically. On the plantation, the woman was judged by how much she could do sexually. Do you realize we're 400 years later and we are still judging each other by the slave master's criteria? How many babies can she make? How good of a sex can she give me? How much money can he earn? How much is he worth? Even though it's with a three-piece tie. It's the same system of limiting the value of African people by their physical attributes and not their mental.
See,
It ain't changed in 400.
You got them focused on the things that are not at all.
Carnal, completely carnal. And they never deal with their spirit. And as a result of that, what do we got? Some of the highest suicide rates we've ever seen. And black girls 12 to 14, black girls 12 to 17, and especially 14 to 17, they're the highest suicide risk in America post-COVID. They killing each other. You know why? Because everything's superficial. Grandma go to church, but grandma don't take granddaughter.
Wow.
Mama in church, but mama don't take grandson. You see that? So our children are killing each other, smoking themselves to death, drinking themselves to death. They need some spirituality, and they damn sure want to get it right here. One thing I'm blessed with is the fact that the Lord has put me in a position where I have so many young people who follow my work, right? I got to do something with them now. I'm always thinking about it. I got all these young people, 8 years old, 9 years old, 12 years old, the colleges, the university. I got to do something with them. And that's why we're building this campus right here. I'm happy for the school. I am. We are going to be so much more than the school once we get started.
Oh, I believe that. You feel it. We had the opportunity to walk through the walls, and you could just feel the energy, you could feel the excitement. There's just so much more that will be coming from this. And at the same time, since we're touching on it, do you have maybe some insight on what could potentially be next? Will there be more schools?
There will be more schools. It's going to depend on where we find the cheapest school properties to house them. I can't get Chicago out my mind because my explosion into the global Black conscious movement took place from Chicago. I can't get Detroit out my mind because it's one of the blackest major cities we still got left. But at the end of the day, Sister Jazz, we want to have an FDMG in every city, every country, every continent, every county. High school you see over there,